Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Ranking Member. I'm glad to be a part of this. Mr. Turner, I appreciated the conversation that you and I had before, and I'm glad we have a chance to be able to chat again. After our last conversation, I went back to some constituents in New Jersey, asked them what are the top issues, what are the things that they want to raise, and just overwhelmingly, not just for this hearing, but just writ large, is about housing, high costs. So I guess I just wanted to ask a little bit more. I look at your testimony here as a country, we're not building enough housing. We need millions more homes of all kinds. I think everyone agrees with that, but I'd like a little bit more specificity from you. Sure. In particular, I heard from a young man says, graduated college, he says he doesn't think he'll ever be able to afford a house. Like the level of pessimism, especially amongst youth right now, is so high. Yeah. And so I guess I just wanted to have something tangible to bring back to him. Mm-hmm. What would you say to that young man? What plan, what specifics can you bring beyond just these statements that we all agree upon? But I'd like to just have a sense of something more granular.
Absolutely. And I also have heard that from my own son. He's 24. How are we going to be able to afford a house? Kids that we mentor in Dallas have the same sentiment. So I understand. First, as I've said before, Senator Kim, and it was great to meet with you, we have to get our fiscal house in this country in order, bringing down inflation, bringing down interest rates, because that will then bring down the cost to build affordable housing. And obviously working with you, this committee, and Congress, we can look at how we get our fiscal house in order. Deregulation, we've talked about that a lot here, both at the federal and the local state level, will help us to build more affordable housing. And those things, I think that when we do that and prices do come down and housing is built, that those that are in this younger generation will begin to have hope again. Because right now there's a lot of hopelessness in the younger generation about how they will afford a home. And so it is my goal, because it's personal to me.
Well, I guess let me just expand a little bit more here. You said we need millions more homes of all kinds, single family, apartments, condos. I guess I wanted to just ask, how do we encourage the building of entry-level homes? We see, it's New Jersey, a lot of development that are luxury condos, large homes, but, it's hard sometimes with the market, to try to figure out how they're going to be able to go off of that. So I'm wondering, what are your thoughts there? Are there ways in which incentives to be able to build that type of housing has a place in the toolbox?
Yes, sir. And I think the expansion of opportunity zones will play a great role in that. Because we saw a lot of affordable housing, first-time housing built, multifamily, duplex, single-family, manufactured homes built in opportunity zones. And so I think the expansion and the continuation of that initiative and program would give us a great advantage to meet that need.
Well, I mean, I think that's right, but I think we also saw sort of an overemphasis upon commercial building when it came to opportunity zones. I think there was some challenge in terms of being able to direct that towards affordable housing. So that's something that, I think we should look at as we go forward. Another thing that I wanted to raise here, the Community Development Block Grant for Disaster Recovery. This is something where, you and I had a conversation about, different disaster issues that we've struggled with in New Jersey. It's not formally authorized, and as a result, it can oftentimes gets bogged down and be a very slow process. So I want to just ask, is that something you've looked at in terms of whether or not you would support permanent authorization of that program?
Thank you, Senator. Yes, that is something I begin to study. Every time a disaster happens, a natural disaster happens in our country, it's almost like HUD has to reinvent the wheel. So statutory authority would be very helpful to get these resources and funds out the door in an efficient manner to serve the people that are in need.
Okay, well, please, that's something I'd like to work with you on. We've seen in the past, especially when it came to response in Puerto Rico after the Hurricane Maria, huge delays. And a lot of structural problems here where the intent of Congress was not followed through on, and that's something I'd like to be able to work with you on. The last thing I'll just say, and this will be quick, I really hope that we can be the generation that finally rids our homes of lead in all forms, once and for all, lead pipes, lead paint. A lot there that we can do when it comes to these work. Is that something you can agree upon? Is that something we can try to set out as a joint goal?
Absolutely.
Thank you. I yield back.
Excellent.